Hey you guys, it's Megan and welcome back to my channel. First off, I just want to apologize for the lighting. It is currently really early in the morning and the sun is not really up yet, but this is the only time I can film right now, so bear with me. Today's video I'm going to be giving you guys 10 tips on how to purchase a camera. This can also work if you're purchasing a computer or any kind of electrical device, and it may even help you buy other things besides electrical. But if you guys don't know, I just purchased me a new camera, and so I thought I would share my tips on how I purchased it and how I made sure that I was going to be absolutely happy with it. So if you're kind of in that same situation, stay tuned. All these tips that I'm giving you today are pretty much in order. You could do some of them before the other, but pretty much they're in order. So tip number one, I would really recommend you figuring out your price range. You cannot buy a camera if you don't know your price range. Cameras go anywhere between $100 to over $1,000. So knowing your price range will help you pick out which camera is right for you. My second tip is figure out what you are wanting to shoot. There are so many cameras out there for so many different things. If you're wanting to do photography, or if you're wanting to shoot video, or if you're wanting to vlog, or if you're just looking for a travel camera, there's tons of different cameras. DSLR cameras are really good for shooting video and for also photography. But if you're vlogging, you may not want to carry around a huge DSLR. You may just want to carry around a little compact video camera. You may not have a lot of money to buy a DSLR, but you still may want to film videos, so you may end up going with a cheap camcorder camera to just practice on until you have enough money saved up to buy you a more fancier camera. The third tip I have is what qualifications are you needing your camera to meet? And that also goes with what are you wanting to shoot. So, like if you're trying to shoot wildlife, you may want a higher shutter speed. If you're wanting to shoot in darker lighting, you're going to want a camera that has a higher ISO. Also, you may want to look at the things that are not necessarily inside the camera, but on the outside of the camera. Are you wanting a mic port? Are you wanting a headphone jack? Are you wanting a tilt screen? Are you wanting a built-in flash? Whatever you're looking for, make sure the camera that you pick has those qualifications. The fourth tip I have for you is after you have gone through all that, you know what you're wanting to shoot, you know your price range, and you have a pretty good idea of what you want your camera to have, the next thing is to pick a brand. There are so many different camera brands out there. You have Nikon, you have Canon, you have Sony, the list goes on and on and on. So you really need to make sure you pick a brand that has everything that you were looking for before. That'll kind of help you narrow it down. Me personally, I have used Samsung, I have used Sony. I've tested with a Nikon before, but I've never owned one. For me personally, I just really like Canon. I like how durable they are, but you may not want to buy Canon, and that's totally fine. Just make sure you're buying the right camera for you. Okay, tip number 5. Once you have decided on a brand and it has everything that you're looking for, read reviews. Read, watch, whatever. Talk to other people. Make sure you do your research, okay? Because just because that camera has everything that it says it does doesn't mean it performs everything the way it should, okay? So just because it says it has a higher ISO doesn't mean that it's going to be really great for shooting in dark scenes. It can still have a lot of noise and stuff like that. Just because it has a lot of different cool features doesn't mean that they perform really well. So you really want to make sure that you are studying up on it just to make sure people who have bought it before you are actually happy with it. This is also tip number 5. I would definitely recommend going to a store and testing it out yourself. Just so you can hold it in your hand, you can pick it up and move around with it, and you can actually see if it feels right for you. Because, let's be honest, seeing it on YouTube, seeing it online, doesn't do it justice when it's in person. Tip number 6. Once you have done all of that and you have read all the reviews, you still want to buy it and you think it's great, then I would recommend buying from an authorized seller. And I put this on here because nowadays people go online and they buy their cameras online, which is totally fine. I bought mine online, but the biggest thing is to not get scammed. There are a lot of times where there's going to be great deals online and they're going to be promising all sorts of great stuff. But here's the thing. They could just be trying to take your money. I have seen on eBay where the camera that I purchased, my Canon 5D Mark IV, there's some company on there selling it for $1,900. Here's the thing. I know that that camera was not going to be that cheap. But there are some people out there who may think that, and they may think that they're getting a great deal, but in reality, they're not. So just be careful when buying your camera online. Normally when you purchase from Amazon or eBay, there's normally people down below who leave reviews for the product that they bought. So read that and make sure that they didn't get scammed so you won't be the next person. Tip number 7 is also about buying, but this time it's about buying used cameras. This is something you also have to be worried about, because when you're buying used, typically it's normally someone who has owned the camera before and is selling it. That can be a little bit dangerous because, again, you never know if you're going to get it, especially if you're buying from eBay and stuff like that. I would recommend, if you're buying used, to go to a store that is selling used cameras and look there. I know that's maybe not ideal, but come on, if you're going to be spending a lot of money anyways, you want to make sure you're getting what you paid for. I'm not saying do not buy used camera equipment at all, because you can get a really great deal. I'm just saying be really careful and be mindful, I guess, and don't always think that you're going to get a great deal, because there are a lot of scammers out there. Just make sure you're prepared for whatever comes. Tip number 8 also goes along with buying your camera. A lot of the time when you're buying a DSLR, it comes with a lens, normally a kit lens, an 18 to 55, whatever. But here's the thing, if you already know what you're wanting to shoot and you've looked at reviews online, there's a lot of time where they have lenses that they recommend. And sometimes you can save yourself a couple $100 just going ahead and buying the lens that you want. I personally recommend getting the kit lens, but I do know that when you're buying a camera, sometimes you may not want the kit lens. Like with me buying my Canon 5D Mark IV, I already knew the lenses that I wanted, so I didn't want to order any kind of kit lens. The ones that they were offering for my camera, you could buy, I believe it was the 24 to 105 and the 24 to 70 millimeter. I would really like to have the 24 to 70 millimeter. However, the one camera lens that I did want, plus the camera and plus the 24 to 70 millimeter, was going to go over my budget. So I just had to buy one and not the other. You can also get really great deals on lenses online. And if you're going to be buying anything used, I would really recommend buying a used lens first before buying a used camera. That's just my personal opinion. I've heard a lot of good reviews about people who have bought used lenses more than people who have bought used cameras. But that's just me personally. May not be for you. Tip number 9 is for when you actually get the camera to your house. So whether if you buy it online or if you go to a store and buy it, once it gets to your house, here's the thing. Normally you have anywhere between a month to 14 days to return the camera if you don't want it. So I would really, if I was you, take a crash course and learn everything you can about your new camera. Learn about all its functions. Go outside and test it. I know when you're in a store you can't necessarily take it outside, at least not where I live, so this will be a great opportunity for you to actually have your hands on it, go outside and shoot it in conditions that you will normally be shooting it in. Make sure that it's exactly what you want. It's exactly what you needed. Also, if you're buying used or if you bought from a seller that was kind of sketchy, make sure it's really the camera that you bought. And then if it's not, you can resell it or try to get a refund, however that goes, you know. But once you learn about all the functions and stuff, I know sometimes that can take a long time to do. Just try to squeeze in as much as you can because it's really going to help you and make sure that you are happy with the camera you purchased. And my last tip for you is how to help you guys make sure that you stay happy with your purchase, okay? And that is to take care of your camera. I know that's kind of a no-brainer, but really, take care of your lenses, take care of your camera, keep everything clean. Make sure that when you're not using your camera, it's in a safe spot and it's not going to get knocked over or have anything spilled on it or anything like that. In the past, I used to just be crazy with my cameras, especially with my little handheld ones. They would go in my pocket, they'd fall out of my pocket, they'd go everywhere with me, and they would get messed up easily. And when you just spent like $300 on it, it's a little bit of a bummer, especially when you're young. So definitely just try to keep it clean and protected. I know things happen, and I'm not guaranteeing that that's going to make your camera last forever, but it's going to help it at least get your money's worth out of it. Alright, you guys, those are my 10 tips. I hope they helped you in some way. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I will try to answer them as much as I can. I have plenty of more camera videos coming up. I have a lot of ideas that I want to shoot. If you have any ideas or any recommendations or anything that you want to see, just leave it down below and I will respond. Anyways, let me know if these tips help you, and also if you have any tips yourself, please leave it down below. Let's help anyone who is in the situation of purchasing a camera and they need help. Alright, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!